Good morning. You find me in a subway, not the place that you can buy sandwiches, but an underpass here in Worthing in West Sussex. It's the 25th of March. We're in lockdown, but we are allowed out for a little bit of exercise, or you can go to work. I'm doing both. This is my job. And so I thought I'd take a stroll down to the pier and see what the sea's doing, and also what Worthing looks like in lockdown on it's a Wednesday, I think, isn't it? I'm losing track of time now that we're stuck at home. It's about 6:30, just coming up to in the morning, and there are people wandering around, and there are people heading, I guess, to work or just getting out, a bit like me. That's the town hall over there, and if you can read the clock, it does say it's just coming up to 6:30. It's a very Romanesque sort of building, and I believe that there was a Roman villa, or the suspicion of one, on that site, or up on this slight rise. If I pan round here, we'll go into the main drag down towards the pier from the north end of Worthing proper, where the railway station is, down towards the coast. It is quite eerie. I used to do this walk quite a lot in the mornings, and occasionally record my Naked Englishman podcast this way down to the coast. It's lovely to hear the seagulls, and it's lovely not to have all the traffic. You can actually wander about. Normally it's not that busy during the 6:30 time, but you get that build up. It's more like a Sunday, and I suppose every day is a bit like a Sunday at the moment. Anyway, I'm going to crack on and see what it's like down on the pier. Coming into South Street here, which is the main shopping area. Oi, keep the noise down, would you? Bloody noisy gulls. There's a bus going off. The buses seem to be running. We've got the banks at HSBC behind me. On the opposite side, that's Lloyd's Bank, and another bus over there going about its work. Not many people wanting to go on it. And then in the distance we catch our first glimpse of the Pavilion Theatre. I just waved at the bus driver, not that I know him or anything, but you feel that there's a somewhat camaraderie feeling now with people, because we're all in this together. And if that's what comes out of this for a while, just like there was in the Second World War, then that's surely got to be a good thing, isn't it? Some of the architecture here is quite beautiful, actually. I particularly like this building above the Halifax Building Society. And then these windows up above W.H. Smith. Very, very interesting bay windows. Or are they oriels? Right, coming closer to the sea now, and that way is the very busy Montague Street, and ordinarily in the day thronging with people, even though a lot of shops have had to change and adapt to the online shopping and stuff, and many of the shops are shut because of that. And we had, I suppose 10 years ago, a huge amount of empty shops. Iceland seems to be about to open its doors. And then come round here, we have the pavilion, and I dare say there will be people walking on there even at this time. I'm getting some curious looks from people as they realise that I'm actually doing some filming. Well, that's not unusual. Often when you come down at this time, there are the dog walkers as well, who are bringing their dogs down to the beach.
I hope you're enjoying this video. Why not help me make more and become a patron? A small donation really makes all the difference and keeps me out and about producing these magnificent presentations. So go to baldexplorer.com and become a patron today.
In previous videos I've been on the pier. I'm actually, for the sake of this, I'm just going to avoid the pier for a moment. I might just whiz round and do a sort of hyper smooth thing in a minute. But seeing as the tide is out, I thought I'd just come down and have a look what it's like under the pier. Lots of pigeons going around, as well as seagulls. It used to be the case that you'd get a few tramps who would live under the pier, but I haven't seen any now. It's a magnificent construction, and it's always amazed me that when they first started building piers, which I think was in the mid-Victorian period, it's a bit pebbly here, but we'll do our best. It's amazing how they managed to get these great chunks of metal deep enough into the water, into the ground rather, whilst presumably they did all this pier driving, whatever you call it, pile driving, before the tide came back in. It is a remarkable thing. Underneath you've got the pigeons flocking and flapping about. Can't really see them on my GoPro, I'm afraid. It's quite dark. I can see that there's a runner up ahead running with his dog right in the distance there. Very lucky to have the sea close at hand. I don't do enough down on the seafront really. You would think that I live more in the countryside if you were just watching my videos. Step over. Over here, let's get a little sense of the construction of the pier and the scale of it. I like Worthing Pier because it doesn't have all the kiss me quick hats and the fortune tellers and the amusements, and there is a tiny, in that little area there's a tiny little amusement for the one-armed bandits and that sort of thing, but that's pretty much it. And in the head at the end of the pier there behind me, which I can't really get to very easily because of all this wet and I haven't got the appropriate shoes on because I raced out this morning, they've turned it into very much an Art Deco cafe and restaurant, and they have events and various things that go on in there, and it's very super now. There used to be a nightclub in there, and I guess for the young and those that remember it, they probably had many a nice time in there, but actually I went there once. The floor was sticky, people were drunk, people would jump off into the water. It's hard to believe, but they did. But now it's sort of gone back, been restored to pretty much how this one was built. And I know there was a fire. There was a very nice chap who sadly passed away now, called Colin XL, who I did a podcast with, and he told me about the time there was a fire, and lots of things have happened to the pier. Lots of things, but I need to go and study that if I would do a proper one. Right, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm going to go up on there and do a quick fast motion walk round of the pier. Oh, it's closed. It says coronavirus, due to the government advice, Worthing Pier has been closed. So, somebody should have told me that, really. Or I should have guessed. So yeah, there we are. The pier is closed. So you can walk under it, but you can't walk over it. I guess too many people have walked on the pier recently, perhaps on Mother's Day. I'm going to walk back now and have a cup of tea and crack on with my day. I think personally, although there is this lockdown, and unless they stop us actually going out like this, I'm probably going to do more videos. I'm going to find ways to get out and make stuff, because it is what I do, and they do say if you have to go to work and you have to go out, then that's what you have to do. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this little walk round and look at Worthing. I'm sure we'll get out of all of this mess fairly soon. But in the meantime, don't forget to follow, like and subscribe, become a patron, support what I do, and I will try and keep you up to date with what's happening in the world of the Bald Explorer. Till next time, keep safe. Bye for now.